This is Coastal Bend History.
I'm Andy Lascano, and we are standing in front of the historic Bluff Balustrade. Did you know that this decorative wall has stood here on the western edge of downtown for more than 100 years? The Bluff Balustrade was built in the early 1900s. Newly elected Mayor Roy Miller was just 29 at the time he took office. And he wanted to transform the city of Corpus Christi from a Gulf Coast village into a major coastal city. And a top priority was to do something about the bluff, which is a 40-foot rise in elevation that separates downtown from uptown. From the time Corpus Christi was incorporated in 1852, the bluff had been an obstacle for the area. There were very few access points, and the steep slopes were nearly impossible to navigate during wet weather. So, Miller hired prominent New York City civil engineer Alexander Potter to create and execute a beautification plan for the bluff. The plan created a parallel street below Upper Broadway and included a retaining wall to stabilize the bluff, with grand staircases to provide access between the two roads for pedestrians. The Bluff Improvement Project, as it was called, was built in stages. Work between Lawrence and People Street began in 1914 after voters approved a $15,000 bond to fund the project. At the foot of the bluff, where Schatzel and People Street meet, the Daughters of the Confederacy contracted famed sculptor Pompeo Capini to create a beautiful fountain called Queen of the Sea. Capini donated his labor, and much of the funding came from the Corpus Christi Rotary Club. The sculpture and fountain were the city's first public pieces of art. Then, in 1915, voters approved an additional $150,000 bond for work between Peoples and Man Street, which included an arched entrance to a divided staircase at the western end of Star Street across from the old federal courthouse on Man Street. The final phase of the project ran from Lawrence Street to Cooper's Alley, and it was funded entirely by the property owners. Then in 1929, a major addition to the Bluff Improvement Project came with the opening of the Bluff Tunnel. The opening was behind City Hall and allowed easy access to pedestrians, but the tunnel was closed in 1978 and never reopened. Repairs were made to the balustrade in 1939, 1959, and again in 1969. In 1986, the Bluff Balustrade was designated a Texas Historical Landmark. In 1988, it was placed on the Registry of National Historic Places. And then in 1990, the city did a complete renovation and restoration of the Bluff Balustrade. Tell you what, if you want to learn more about the Bluff Balustrade, all you have to do is click on the QR code you see on your screen, or you can go to our website and click on the Coastal Bend History tab, because that's going to take you to all of the Coastal Bend history stories we've done, not only on the Bluff Balustrade, but all our other reports. Until next time, I'm Andy Lascano.